So I'm playing this game for about 7 days and I feel like I have a fairly good idea as to how this game works. I understand how each character works, I understand the basic fundamentals of the game, and most of all, I understand the importance of team composition in almost every game. Despite that, I feel like I don't know enough to really give like an unbiased view, but I could at least give my opinion as to whether or not this game could make it as what Blizzard wants it to be so badly, a competitive esport. Clearly, that's what they're pushing it as because that's what the current popular thing is, esports. Big, massive, regularly watched games with professional players. Clearly, that's the direction they want this game to go. So in saying that, will this game make it the way Blizzard seems to want to make it? I think it will. I think this game certainly has the factors that are necessary to make this game an esport. Yes, the competitiveness of a game is important, although it's not omni-important. There are certain examples of games that aren't that competitive but have a huge viable esport. Call of Duty. Anyway. And there's certain games like Tribes Ascended that have really competitive esport type gameplay but don't really make it as esports because they don't have the big enough following. So in reality, when you say competitiveness of a game is what causes an esport to form, rather it's more so how many people see it as a competitive game. Because if people see it as a competitive game and people want to watch competitive games, you already have one of the 3 most important things to make an esport. And from what I've seen so far, people seem really eager to actually get involved and watch this game as an esport, because I think it would even be entertaining to watch, because it seems like a really fun, entertaining game to just watch really good players play. And despite that, the Reddit page has about 130,000 followers I think right now, which is surprisingly big for a game that's still in beta. Keep that in mind, this game hasn't officially come out yet. So in saying that, I think this game can certainly become big at some point. I think this game can certainly has the potential to become a popular esport. Now, if you look at the Reddit page, you should probably ignore the Overwatch porn. Reddit's a weird place, so don't look it up. It's weird. Just don't do it. Not a good idea. But getting onto the actual point, Blizzard seem really intent on getting this game to be a popular esport, and that's the other important thing for an esport to become big. Apart from having a big viewer base, there also needs to be either the developers or external sponsors getting involved, making good competitive teams, and most of all making tournaments so these competitive teams can actually play in front of an audience. This is what makes an esport truly like an actual competitive game. You can have as many competitive players you want, but if you don't have these types of gameplay, it's never going to be the game you need it to be. For example, the reason TF2 never got as big as it should be, in my opinion, was Valve never made too much of a case to actually make the game an esport, because I guess they didn't see the effort in it. Because despite the fact that if they got more people involved and they did matchmaking years ago for TF2, that the game would have been way bigger, I still think that Valve was a main reason for the fact that TF2 is a very small, self-inclusive community that never really got big enough to actually talk home about. I think that's the main reason for it. Anyway, since in saying that, if there's no developer involvement, there can still be sponsor involvement completely. Because take Smash Bros. Melee as an example. Nintendo have completely stopped giving a shit about Melee at this point, but despite that, because of external sponsors, the game still is thriving. It's very big still. It's still a very popular esport to watch. So in saying that, one of the 2 things you need either external sponsors to sponsor your game and to get into it and see money in it, or you need Blizzard to get involved. In the case of this game, I think Blizzard really want to push this as their competitive FPS. So in saying that, I think Blizzard will heavily push tournaments of this game, they'll heavily push the formation of teams, they'll heavily push a lot of stuff, causing this game to really become an esport in itself. I think Blizzard will be a really big reason for this game becoming big. Because if you think about it, Blizzard is so good at making competitive games that they made a card game a popular esport. They made Hearthstone huge as an esport, which is really surprising. So in saying that, I think this game will almost definitely have a good following, unless one of 2 things happens. 1, the viewership or followship of the game just plummets after the game releases, which I think it'll just go up. Or 2, Blizzard and external sponsors stop giving a shit about the game the second it reaches a few months in, which I don't think it'll happen. I think the second any sponsors see a viewership and they see Blizzard's involvement in it and making tournaments, they'll start making teams. They'll start making teams to get huge prize pools, and the game will grow from there. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to give my opinion as to why this game can become an esport. Now, I'm saying can, I'm not saying it will. It could, any of the two things I just mentioned there can definitely happen, although the Blizzard one is much less likely. But in saying that, I'll see you next time, and have a nice day.